The air, crisp and cold, carried a chilling silence. The kind of silence that seeps into your bones, making you shiver even if you're wrapped in the warmest of coats. It was a night that felt like it was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Thanksgiving night, a time for family, feasting and fear. The table was set, laden with dishes that had been prepared with love and care. Yet, beneath the surface there was an undercurrent of unease, a sense that something was not quite right. This year, the darkness had teeth. It wasn't just the absence of light, it was a presence, a malevolent force that seemed to be watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. We had gathered, a tapestry of faces reflecting the flickering candlelight. Each face told a story, each pair of eyes held a secret. The candles cast long shadows, making the room feel both intimate and infinite. Grandma's ancient recipes filled the air with a deceptive warmth. The aroma of roasted turkey, spiced pumpkin pie, and buttery mashed potatoes was comforting, but it couldn't mask the underlying tension. But I felt it first, a prickle on the back of my neck, the icy breath of something unholy. It was as if the air itself had turned against us, whispering warnings that only I could hear. The stories had always been whispered, passed down through generations like cursed heirlooms. Tales of things that go bump in the night, of shadows that move when they shouldn't, of eyes that watch from the darkness. Legends of a vengeful spirit, a creature scorned by the first settlers now returned to claim its due. These were not just stories to scare children, they were warnings etched into our collective memory. Tonight the legend would become reality. The shadows seemed to grow darker, the air colder. We all felt it, the creeping dread that something was coming, something that would change our lives forever. After dinner, we ventured out, seeking reprieve from the oppressive atmosphere within the house. The air inside had been thick with unspoken words and lingering glances, making it almost unbearable to stay any longer. We needed the fresh air, the open sky, and the sense of freedom that the outdoors promised. The cornfields, usually a source of rustic charm, swayed ominously in the night wind. By day, they were golden and inviting. But under the cloak of darkness, they transformed into something entirely different, something almost sinister. Each rustle sounded like a whispered threat. The wind seemed to carry voices, faint and indistinct, but unmistakably there. It was as if the corn itself was alive, murmuring secrets we were never meant to hear. My cousin Sarah shivered beside me. She pulled her jacket tighter around her, but it did little to ward off the chill that seemed to seep into our very bones. "Do you ever feel like we're being watched?" she whispered, her breath misting in the cold air. Her eyes darted around nervously, searching the shadows for any sign of movement. I tried to laugh it off, but my blood ran cold. The feeling of being watched was palpable, an invisible weight pressing down on us. It was as if unseen eyes were tracking our every move. Something was out there, I could feel it. The darkness seemed to pulse with a life of its own, and every shadow held the promise of something lurking just out of sight. A presence hungry and malevolent stalking us from the shadows. It was as if the night itself had taken on a predatory nature and we were its prey. The whispers grew louder, swirling around us like a vortex of fear. They seemed to come from all directions, an inescapable cacophony that tightened the knot of dread in my stomach. We were being herded, driven deeper into the heart of the darkness. Each step felt like a descent into an abyss, and the further we went, the more certain I became that we were not alone. The night had eyes, and they were fixed on us. We stumbled back towards the house, our hearts pounding in unison with the unseen terror that pursued us. The warm glow of the windows promised safety, but the promise was a lie. Inside, chaos reigned. The remnants of our feast lay scattered, a desecrated altar. Grandma's prized china lay shattered, reflecting the horror in our eyes. And then we saw him, a grotesque parody of a man, his skin the color of rotted pumpkins, his eyes burning with unholy hunger. This was no longer a legend, this was our nightmare come true. Blood in the gravy. The night was thick with an unsettling silence, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. The full moon cast an eerie glow over the haunted house, its windows like dark, soulless eyes staring into the abyss. Screams tore through the night, blending with the creature's guttural roar. The sound was a symphony of terror, echoing through the dark alleyways and sending shivers down the spine of anyone who heard it. It was as if the night itself was alive with fear. It moved with unnatural speed, its claws dripping with a viscous fluid that could only be blood. The creature's movements were a blur, a dark shadow darting through the night with a predatory grace. Each step it took left a trail of crimson in its wake. Sarah. He had her. Her screams pierced the night, a desperate cry for help that seemed to fall on deaf ears. The creature's grip was unyielding, its claws digging into her flesh as she struggled in vain. Her terrified eyes met mine, pleading for a salvation I was powerless to offer. The fear in her eyes was a mirror of my own, a reflection of the helplessness that gripped me. I wanted to save her, but my feet were rooted to the spot, paralyzed by fear. And then, with a sickening crunch, he was upon her, his laughter echoing in the darkness. I ran. The sound of bones breaking and flesh tearing was a grotesque symphony that spurred me into motion. I had to get away, had to escape the nightmare that was unfolding before my eyes. Ran through the house, through the fields, the creature's chilling laughter nipping at my heels. My breath came in ragged gasps, my heart pounding in my chest like a drum. The fields seemed endless, a labyrinth of darkness that offered no sanctuary. The taste of fear filled my mouth, acrid and inescapable. It was a bitter reminder of the horror that pursued me, a taste that lingered long after the screams had faded. Every step I took was a struggle, every breath a battle against the terror that threatened to consume me. The memory haunts me still. The sights, the sounds, the metallic scent of blood mingling with the aroma of roasted turkey. I can never escape the chilling truth. Thanksgiving will forever be a season of fear. If you watched this far, comment to the Legion what you would like to see here on Shadows. Stay shadowy.